Okay.
Okay. So 3.5, committees, community engagement and outreach, Board of Trustees. So everybody in your Google Drive, we have placed in there was a document that was the board liaison assignment meetings from last year, 2020, 2021. So there was a strategy in how we organized this meeting, starting off with Jay, for this retreat. Starting out with Jay discussing portrait of the graduate, along with that, all of the efforts that we're making, that maybe in the past and looking in the future in terms of district and trying to get our students to achieve that portrait. Going through and discussing what motivated us or what we're hoping to have for our in the coming 4 years in terms of what we'd like to see happen in the district, and then also talking about our strengths. The idea behind it is now let's take a look at our assignments that we'll take on and possibly taking into consideration what we've discussed in the past several hours, possibly adding on additional assignments, maybe deleting some of the ones that are here and try to be strategic about how we assign ourselves these responsibilities. So,
I would also like you to reflect upon some of your statements about a lot on your plates.
yeah.
So being very strategic about what's impactful and getting out messages and things that we need from our standpoint.
So does everybody have it in front of them? Okay. What I think might be worthwhile is for us to look through them, take a moment to look through them if you haven't already, and think about if there's any things that we should be adding or deleting. And take a moment to look through it. We're definitely going to be putting Bill's name in here somewhere.
No, I earlier I heard the words no.
Should we not have you on here, Bill?
No.
Got it. Well, I just put that double negative one, so so one of the things that I think might be worth discussing is our very last thing here at the time was trustees. I know that's something that we've discussed in the past, wondering whether we do want to keep this or modify this or substitute something out. So curious to know what your thoughts are as far as the time trustees.
Michelle just used a great word, like what is most impactful. And my experience with the time with trustees. So I wouldn't write it off as invaluable in any kind of way. The impact is not been as quite felt as I would like it to be. So I'm not opposed to evaluating new ways to go about that, where we could have a greater impact. But I find my time better used on campus a lot of times. Obviously, restrictions in the past years, it has, we haven't been on to that as much, but sometimes the more informal things are actually more impactful to me, at least. And I think to our community and to our stakeholders, it's those individual conversations that are a bit more spontaneous than the scheduled appointments that we were trying to keep. And something that we were doing with the time of trustees didn't allow for participation or a welcomeness that I was hoping for from community members and stakeholders.
And in looking at that too, if it's a decision to continue or not continue, could even change. So it could be quarterly, each semester, twice, once a season, that kind of thing, so you could look at each trimester or so that that you're still offering that outreach, but, and more strategically, I know we were gonna try this at the end of last year and it didn't work out, but an advertised topic. We know that we're facing the fiscal cliff that everyone was talking about. And so, strategically, maybe having that after a budget cycle or those kind of things, we are going to be doing some other stakeholder input gathering hopefully with our equity and social justice committee. So it might be a way to balance out those opportunities.
And I did just popped up and that would be to survey our stakeholders and let them know what topics they would like us to focus on in these conversations.
What I wonder about is actually surveying our, not down here, possibly checking with RTA and CSEA and other stakeholders to find out what would be the best way for us to reach them.
I think that that's the best place to start. And tapping in on the community too. We know that when we go to these events, it is the same people who attend them over and over. And those people know how to reach us. They are going to reach out to us anyways when they need to be reached out to.
Right.
What we have to tap into is our time and utilize our time for is getting to those people and populations who we don't already reach. So I would recommend you looking at this entire calendar of things that we do. And I mean, almost starting from scratch in that kind of way. Some of us have other commitments we've made to these groups, which is kind of why we go to them anyways sometimes, and that's fine. We can continue to keep those, but going there with the intention of I'm doing something for the board, I don't know that is really how we should be approaching those things. So that's my take on it. It would require maybe a big deal more effort and creativity than originally thought when we went to do this review, but maybe not. My take is throw it out and start fresh with some recommendations from, again, all stakeholders, community and outside the district and within the district of where do you want us and what would you like us talking about?
I like that idea. So as far as how to best utilize our time right now, we could do some brainstorming, we could go ahead and look at these responsibilities and maybe send a couple of us off to do that research and then come back and reformulate.
Some of them still need to be, I think, done.
Absolutely.
Especially things like maybe the chambers or, there's been feedback about the why school site councils. So I'm not sure that, how people feel about that. There's been feedback about school site council attendance.
I think that there's been positive feedback in the attendance of school board members of the government affairs committee, the American Municipal Advisory Council, and Short Crest Forest Municipal Advisory Council, and PT and the Crestline Connects.
Yes.
Those chamber, which includes your the farmers market that you make yourself available to. So if those need to stay on the list of things that we want to make sure we have attendance to. Renmed Foundation, obviously we do.
Yeah, just because it's,
Well, that one we should because of
yeah,
the way that it was originally set up. Yeah. So obviously the district budget committee, there are some things that definitely need to remain because we've had positive feedback on our participation.
So, what you didn't mention is site council. Which I'm totally fine with us not. That's fine. Is there any others that were comfortable with, really at this point?
Dropping the site council?
What was that?
We're dropping the site council, is that what you just said?
As being on this list?
No,
That's what we're proposing.
I didn't hear PTA on your vote.
Okay,
You didn't hear what?
PTA.
To be honest, I think that's the parent part that, I mean, if you want a parent group that's captured in one place and listening to each site as to what's going on at that site, that's a great way to get information. And then if we, in the future, wish to go forward with another measure, that is a great way to, oh, this is what I've been hearing at BOE and the challenges of BOE. So
And there's also teachers on there. so-
right, and there's a report that you already have that you're not just going in to make up a niche. But I would personally caution all us from doing from experience is to not take on positions that attendance there is different and being present, but more as an observer, it is not the board's job to make PTA function at every school. And because we care so passionately about the students and some of us being parents, we get sucked into that. And I don't think that it's good for us. I don't think it's the right place for us to be. Again, working. It is the right place for us to be and to be available at times. Well, I'm already on decisions and that's not going away. I know it. There you go. Maybe next year, something you can learn to say. I'm trying to extricate myself in a little. So we'll see how that works out in the next couple months.
So PTA to attend. And not be active, school site council to not attend.
The arrowhead chamber is a little bit tricky because it's closed meetings basically. So, I mean, they're more about attending the events. So, but just make sure to keep that in the back of our mind that that's a different organization than like the Rhine Springs one, which is, hey, come on down, have some fun.
And I have copies, I want to, it started the person for press line, so I have attended a couple of the past, they can be more, I'm saying, presentations that in that respect.
This last year, Chris, my chamber, was basically the board, they just got their first more general.
Perhaps we start at the top of the list, take on the topic, say yes or no for now, until we get some feedback, and then assign members. And then go to the next one.
I like that idea, I do have some additional ideas, of things we'll have to do.
Okay.
So, should I discuss them now?
Let's go through the current list because we know many of those are pretty mandatory too in our minds. Let's see where we get with how many we're taking on and then we can.
So the LCP was specific to that particular plan that was done in the face of COVID, so that, Heather, is there another version or are we just straight LCAPing it? Oh, straight LCAP, so the first one is off. Yeah, so we go straight to LCAP. And I'm editing this as we go, I have it, so I will go ahead and make the changes. And then it will be on our shared drive. So I deleted the LCP. So now we have LCAP stakeholder meetings. Currently, or as of last year, it was Cindy and Leslie who were representing.
And Bill actually took over Leslie's place.
Okay, so we're going to continue with that. To we'll go ahead and do assignments at this point, and we're going to try to make sure that we have a balance as much as we can. So. Is anybody interested in,
I'm interested in continuing to go there.
okay. And I don't think it's necessary for us to have two people on everything.
No, the idea was to make sure that we delineated who's interested and put their names down so that somebody doesn't accidentally wander in and become the third person. So that's what this is mostly about, is making sure we don't stumble over each other. So then let's have our goal one per thing, and then if someone stumbles.
Okay, sounds good.
So is someone else interested in LCAT?
I'm always interested, but I kind of do like the idea of maybe, leaving some of them open for rotation. I think some are better suited to having two dedicated board members, like budget committee.
That's a must.
That should be two not switching out regularly type things, stuff like that. I think other observational, I go without.
And what I would suggest is if it is just one person, if their schedule has schedule conflicts and the like, they can reach out to see somebody else who is in that case. Okay, so Bill down for LCAT. Next one on the list is the PAB.
You know what, since we have that, they just go ahead and draw for the members who they need to their members.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Oops, put you down for everything.
Yay, who?
I can't really. Okay, so for the PAB, we had Cindy and Natalie last year. And is this one where we contact two people or is it okay?
One's fine.
Okay.
I think so.
And then the next one is for the foundation that was Cindy and myself last year.
I continue on my head, but I like to continue on my head.
Okay. I can go either way if somebody else wants to do it.
I think just close, what's the date?
It's
Second
second
Tuesday.
Tuesday each month, 5 to 8 p.m.
I would go, but it's, that's a friend thing to do.
Mary Justine has issues.
I think that their remit is great, just having, if it only ends up being one, that's fine, because I give a report, and they ask for a report, and they ask the other board member for a report, so it's very
And
repetitive.
we need to just.
And they hold up minutes, like 5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to just have Cindy here and we'll be happy to go. But I'm not going to have it down so that I'm excited to be there.
I think this is the whole thing, because some of these are that are observational or participant are making our face known to things like REMED or government affairs committee. But if we're not there, it's also okay to not go. We need to give ourselves permission to not go. So put your name down, and if you can go, go.
Come on. So DLAC, but last year Jordan and Cindy,
I love to do that.
okay, sorry, you do.
Is anyone else interested in UI? If not, I don't mind doing it again too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love those meetings, I love them.
Budget committee, and last year was Cindy and myself. Is anybody interested?
You guys do budget?
I was just saying, I'm interested in the DLAC, but I think that Julie's probably better qualified.
And that's
Good strengths.
That's
Good leadership.
that's kind of actually what we probably should be more about with each of these different assignments is again what our strengths are, making sure we're deploying our resources in the best possible way.
I think that, equally, whenever possible, we want to, because year number 1, it was Dan and I. Year 2, Dan stayed on, Cindy joined in. Year 3, I've been on it before, I wouldn't mind it. Phil has an interest, and I know you analytically minded in financial ways, you're not disinterested in school finances, so if you are interested, I think you can.
Are we on DLAC or budget?
But
Oh, budget, yeah. And yeah, Bill, if you want to do budget, go at it, but. Oh, are we pushing you into something?
when you brought it up,
Oh,
Well, I just want to make sure that we use people really to something like their strengths. And so that's what I was thinking, looking at where Jordan's at, with his analytical. So, but obviously I'm strictly, but, and so budget, yes, I'm going to do that. However, I have been a little bit concerned about the number of items on here that are related to PR. So I don't want to say yes to too much and then be concerned about other area too.
Why don't we come back to that then, and then move on to the next thing, and then go back with those.
Is somebody for sure going to stay on the budget committee? I think Cindy, you're doing that.
I'm totally fine with saying that, I'm totally fine with something else. You might want some.
I'm good with staying on, I'm good with stepping down. I think it's been highly educational, and so, I would, I think that, there's benefit to rotating it, but I also think there's benefit to having continuity.
Well, there's been a lot of training in that committee that Jenny has done over the last 2 years. So it would be, some homework to catch up to the training for the people that have attended and the steps that we're making in looking at our budget in a strategic way as we look at fiscal cliffs and cuts.
So let's keep it.
Well, I'll keep, I have it highlighted now for us to come back to, and let's move on. District media. I'm actually interested. We had Jordan and Natalie on last year. And I know we discussed possibly having to take on more of the PR or the community outreach. So, is there anybody else, Jordan and Natalie?
I'm not sure if we look at impact and outcomes.
Right.
If we stick to those words, we did not produce any documents because the cabinet has been producing those documents. And it's just, I think that through the ABC team and all the work that I'm doing and reporting to you that Todd and I are doing with Tom DeLapp, that I'm not, because we're actually being coached every week in this area, that it might be one to postpone a year, let us work on the district plan for media and outreach and PR with Tom that we'll have by December. And then we could restart it up at that time when we're back to facilitating that on our own. Just an idea, but
I would agree, Michelle. Much of what, I don't want over communication to be flooding where things are drowned out. And what the district office wants to announce is extremely important, and they're doing it. And I would prefer that to be what's predominantly seen right now.
I am going back to doing my superintendent newsletter, which we did not do last year. So the board would be welcome to have articles in that.
Well, and hopefully within that, there will be the positive press and the great news coming from within the schools and what our students and what our teachers and staff are doing. That's a piece where if we're tying into the excitement and we really want to let that shine, I don't think that there has been, and I'm on it, so I'll take ownership of it. I don't think anything has came from us that made it a pleasure. I did get positive letters, the one brief statement we did about welcoming back, and it coming from the board, but we can do that without having a committee for it.
I would agree that the media committee as it is today is not a committee worth continuing. However, if Dana and it sounds like Bill might have been a little interested, if they want to try to tackle a new iteration of what the media committee might be, it might look like, I would be open to that, or putting on pause for a year and we can still, like now they said, we can still participate.
I think that if I'm remembering past conversations correctly, thinking instead of having it, maybe it would be not named correctly as a media committee, but through this committee, determine what areas of the community we have not been traditionally reaching with communication, two-way communication, you have to be there to listen, and also giving out positive press. So not the actual message, but more so being able to have a better understanding of how does our community wish for us to communicate with them and how do they wish to communicate with us. This is kind of what I was imagining would be the next steps there. And so that was my thought. Is that what you were thinking about?
Well, I'm still trying to learn about some of these things. Exactly like it sounds like we have a good definition for the committee, so I would suggest that we follow Michelle's suggestion. we wait for a year. But I do think that the board has a responsibility for PR that we need to be making sure we're doing something with it. So whether we wait for a year and see what
It was
staff
part of the
does.
strategic plan on how the board fits into that PR piece that Tom was helping Todd and I compose.
And I think this goes without saying, if you needed a statement from the
Yes.
board, you ask, and we're done, you know, it's just to have those scheduled. It wasn't.
You're gonna be adding more committees to the list than are currently on it, even though we're taking some off. So I think your plates will still be full. As a caution.
And I'll put down for this one to be on hold for this next school year. Does that sound right for everybody?
Yeah, because that committee is a superintendent forms committee, and does anything need to be done to put it on pause, or just are we serious one?
It's first, so we don't have to do anything.
We don't have to do anything. Okay. ABC. I was on it, Jordan was on it this past school year, and I did not read the ABC.
What was that again?
The ABC committee, both you and I were on, the board members representing this committee for the last school year.
Jordan's input is helpful on that team because of his personal business. So we have moved that meeting to only 3 times a year. The committee voted to keep the committee in the spring, and we have teachers, we have students, we have classified, and management, so Mark, Stephanie's on there, so if we can, the committee itself voted to keep it. Jordan's expertise is sometimes helpful with his media background, but
So
it doesn't have to be, if you want to be Jordan.
I don't mind at all, unless there's somebody that has a particular duty, but
Okay, we'll have Jordan, and we'll keep it to him.
It's fine.
Somebody else can run the bill, if that interests you, but you need. If you have an interest in the ABC, you're more than welcome. We don't have to commit to one. So that's what I'm saying is that I don't know, and you they are a good communicator, so I'm just not pushing you into it.
So we can also drop it.
Yes.
and then I mean, I think we already know, but if there are 2 people committed to a particular thing, it doesn't mean that both have to go every time.
Exactly.
So don't feel that obligation either.
Okay. So Government Affairs Committee, we had, Mr. Dale, Cindy Jordan, and myself last there. I'm taking myself off.
Jordan has to attend from the chamber.
And I'm now on the DAC board, so I have to attend.
There we go.
Okay. That was easy.
Okay, press force, we missed the press force map. It was myself and Leslie.
Continue.
I will do it. You're usually gonna do Leslie at times.
I'm the chairman of the committee that has to report there.
Yes.
So you guys are it. Moving on.
We type this on. Okay, let's go with that.
I would like to continue. I work with some of these people in other areas, so it's been good.
Was that?
I did not.
You know,
I did not attend. I'm gonna do it all.
We're doing a great job of saying no, by the way. Okay. Okay, PTA meetings. We have
I'm not.
Just tell us so we know what ones we killed.
Run High School, Mountain Council. And PH, but that's gonna be minimal because PT is in trouble. We're just doing compliance work. We're not gonna do work. So I don't know if that's one that people really want to attend because until that is back on its feet. OAE, because it now has a very strong board.
Well, can I will do our CHP. And the presume they're not on the same nights.
No, they intended to do Zoom meetings, they would like to continue to do Zoom meetings. Open has extended that to the end of the year, so it would be easier to attend those meetings.
Yeah, and they're probably still deciding themselves what they submit request for, I'm assuming.
I can reach out to Julie and find out if they made a decision. They've already had 2 meetings, organizational meetings.
Okay, so what I have here, just going down the list, CHE, Natalie, LAE, Natalie and Cindy, or just Cindy?
I'll definitely be dropping in on some,
Yes.
no expectation of me constantly.
Okay, DOE, Natalie,
Correct.
MPH, Cindy,
Minimal.
should I put that in there?
Yeah, I'm just, make sure you put something there that there really are compliance only meetings. So there's not really like, oh, this is awesome, this is what we're doing. That's not what's happening right away. So I don't really think that that's something that people want to talk in. There will be Zoom meetings though, that people do, but I'm just saying there's nothing.
Okay, Rim High, Cindy, Mountain Council, Natalie and Cindy. Natalie, yourself, Mountain Council?
No, not now.
All right. So are there, Bill, Jordan, on that, the next 10 minutes, please?
Rim High is awesome. I just want to let you know, if you really want to, it has a very big and strong board, and Jordan's great leader. So we really get a gist of what's going on in the school that has high impact on the stuff, the dashboard and stuff. So I'm just letting you know.
Well, I'd be glad to connect with him, like, about the meeting, more there, but. Really?
I was gonna join that CFP.
Then I'll be, how do you see?
Jordan, are you gonna want to drop in on DOE?
Yes, I would.
Okay, your name's on there?
Okay,
By the way, that's an awesome board. That board is already like organizing and got their spare part stuff, so you guys are gonna have fun.
I've been seeing that, yeah, there's a basic activity.
Yeah.
And really is.
Exciting. It's beyond.
Okay, River of the World, Brett, in the Park Department, yeah, Jordan last year. That's for the Monday of the month.
I did not go last year, but I think that might be, I'm interested in it, in those of them now. Especially now with WGM.
To those that have been to it, the impact, do you feel like,
Is it
was it worth it? Is it better? We're making, you know,
But
maybe go and then
I was on the board for Park Rec, and because of their some of their facilities, recreational facilities and stuff are tied to kids, we do have our mutual agreements with them. So, and how you go forward developing, using our assessment fees, different things on the mountain, it kind of correlates with, and they've done for us, during distance learning, those rooms where kids came and they oversaw their distance learning and stuff, so there is a relationship. So it's not that it's not valuable, it's, do you want to do it?
which again, I'm saying the same thing. If you go to a meeting with one person, the value is not in question. It's just,
Is it impactful? I think that it has interesting information, especially if they talk about future projects that kids and families can utilize better. Just like the dam community in Cape Park.
Is it Jordan? I have it down for that? Okay. Crestline Connect, I'm on there. And I know Billy showed up in some of the six, so,
You go there a lot.
Yeah. What did I say?
I go there a lot too, I'm not always there. Chambers.
But running springs, Jordan.
And, Bill, are you going to the, wrestling finger?
Well, like I said, this last year's been all board meetings, so no,
Okay,
but we are part of the team.
okay. I would like to, I'm gonna have both of us nominated for that. And then for the Arrowhead, I had Jordan, Cindy, and Natalie last year.
Yeah, I'm still going to do it again, so.
Natalie, you, the chamber for the Arrowhead? Yeah. Okay,
If I'm doing make out of that, I'm going to
okay.
say no.
We just,
Ooh,
no. Yeah. But the last thing here is time and trustees. Do we want to look at scheduling time, or do you want us, we determine responsibilities a later day?
I think that that's when we should suspend and then however we get feedback, about how to do it better. And then we can reassess.
Okay, I have on hold until we move on.
And that was formed through the media community too, so pausing both is.
The other side of it is maybe something that you do as needed. For example, with starting school, maybe we need to set up a kind of trustees just because of some of the state regulations that we deal with. And so maybe that there is still a place for young people.
The question I have with that is in what format? I agree with you that in being proactive when we know that there are going to be things that people are going to want to discuss is ideal. I don't know whether, the format that, so far the format that we've used has not been well attended, not maybe for a lot of reasons. But being able to have, whether it's a town hall or time of trustees or who knows what, that would be ideal for us to make sure that we're available. Okay. So going, does anybody have anything additional that we might want to consider?
Just a piggybacking thought, I think us going out to the community is better received than asking the community to come to us. And that is where, our board meetings are not well attended, particularly, and neither are for the time of trustees, I think the preference is, well, we're here where these events come to be part of them, rather than us creating or working to create new things.
So those are the thoughts I had, is given that, is us possibly, maybe once a month, we could figure it out, attending youth sports, like, soccer Saturday periodically, or basketball, being able to just have a booth there of sports.
I mean, having run baseball for 12 years, that really is impossible to like put an actual booth up to try, because parents really are more intent on watching their kids. And they want to get the snacks, they want to get into the stands, and they want to yell at their kids and the umpires and the refs. And so I'm not.
Should you wish to attend every soccer, baseball, basketball, track and field, all of those events that my kids come to or not, and you would like to come join me and hang out, you can. People recognize us and they know who we are, and if our presence is there and you think that that's a good place to be because they will approach us, piggyback with me to have an excuse to be hanging out there or just show up. I mean, you're a representative of all those students. They're all our students, all the kids out there. So
Yeah.
I think thinking of if we want to make an intention or be aware of the fact that, hey, that might be a good place for us to stop by on this Saturday, hang out in the stands for a little bit. Yeah, like let's all just think about that and make an intention for it. But to sign up and do a booth, or something like that and be go over well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just on baseball. I would have told you as executive director. Yeah, and especially when you have one game after another. It just, parents are just, and they're running their kids from field to activity, that having a formalized booth really probably would be not worth our time. But sitting in the stands and watching the game and having chitty chats and saying, yeah, that umpire missed that strike zone by a mile and stuff like that. That is intentional, but you're there and and people have the availability to chit chat with you at the snack bar or something.
I just want to follow what Natalie said about attendance. We in the cabinet, when we have special reports or things that we wish everybody would hear, reports from ed services, reports from our principals, people don't come to board meetings or to those kind of things when the school board or the district is functioning. So they will come, I'm assuming they're going to come shortly about masks. They will come when there are negotiation struggles, when there are bad budgets or the budget decisions to be made over curriculum. So our newspapers have been very friendly. In fact, Todd and I are writing for the Mountain News with reporters right now. They're always doing a summary after our meetings. And so it goes on the Alpine Mountaineer usually and the Mountain News. So, but I understand because we even get like, I wish people were here to hear Heather's report or hear Jenny's report. But I think they'll come, they're just gonna come for reasons we don't want them to come. But it is a good sign that we are functioning well.
I think that we just attend our games here at the high school and other events. And one thing I think also that we've kind of gotten away from is making sure that the board knows when the fun stuff on our campuses are, especially our elementary, is, oh, they're having, well, I know about trunk or treat, everybody knows about trunk or treat, but some really fun family dance or movie night or whatever it is that make sure that we get that information so that we can time those fun things, because that's pushing in and people will see a face and they're like, oh, I want to talk to, I have a question about that. Oh, I have a question about that. So I think if we get more, Michelle, if we can get the events from the campuses, I know that's hard and for the principals to do, or the
I've already been reminded, we're gonna go back to that practice.
okay, good, because I think that is something that is valuable, and then because we would have fun with it, it becomes not a have to, but I can't wait to go to this.
That's it, the back to school nights are all coming.
Yes.
That's a great opportunity to be out there. We'll be at VOE because early after let parents know about the club. And that's something, an opportunity for us, is to be around.
We're gonna have to divide and conquer those because the elementaries are all the same night. So the cabinets already divided them up.
I was afraid of that. That's why we need to know the dates.
Yes.
Theirs is the day before school starts,
Is it?
all 3 elementaries.
Do you want to assign those now or?
No, actually, all the back to school nights, all 5 of us can attend back to school nights or open houses, and it does it because that is part of, that's actually embedded within our policy. That we can go to community events and school events all together, but grouping and having the optics of the 5 of us huddling together to have conversations, the optics of that is not good, but all 5 of us going to a football game or a back to school night or a play all together is fine.
I would just like to make sure that it is one class is that.
Oh, gotcha. I'll be,
I agree, yeah, no,
now I'm sure you'll be at LAE, I'm gonna be at the
I will be at VOE.
Jordan, CHE.
Okay. You band wherever you band.
Yeah.
Okay. Another idea is, I think it was brought up, is something else a couple of weeks ago, is us being available to realtors for the realtors meetings, as for representation there.
The board of realtors? Yeah, that's a big one.
I attend once a year and give a report, and then we'll update to them. I'm just saying,
Do you know when you, sorry,
They meet in the morning at Lake Arrowhead Resort used to be. But my contact for that is Carol Wayner. So,
I think Steve, I would enjoy going to that, so if somebody could just let me know what it is.
it's a morning.
I can find out very nice Jen Simmons with presidents.
And I would like to be as well. So, I'll
Put the two of you down, woo, getting there.
For the realtors, do we have any other suggestions?
And there's already that one, that one just.
I think we want to have the Crestline Rotary.
The Rotary is kind of like the same name, always going to be for the same Rotary.
We even have a future president-elect that's going to be at the Mountain Sunrise. We have membership now at the Lake Arrowhead Rotary Club. Our superintendent is there, is a new member there. So we've got some good Rotary company.
Everything typed in? Back to budget. So district budget committee, we had last year, Cindy and myself. And is anybody else interested? You gotta get us more two people.
So do you, after you went through all the other committees, do you feel would you so like a budget or would you
Well, it sounds like there's been some training there, which that has been taking place. So I say keep the same people right now.
Okay. Anything?
If there's, I mean, since when we have it and then for some reason we see like a drop in opportunity, we can just take advantage of it.
It was, it was, I had the document that Mark put in. We talked 24 hours, so let me go ahead. That's what this is. Let's see where it is.
I just have the PDF, the July 21 docs. So that's, so where did you get that? Share with me.
I edited the documents that was already in there. So as board members attend these meetings for 2021 with the document.
Just drop it in. Okay. So what?
It changed the year to.
Yeah.
Okay, so seems like we are finished early. So anything else on 3.5? And then we are on 4.0 adjournment.
The movie.
Bill, do I have a second? Second. Natalie. On for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourning at 1:53.
Very good, thank you. And I do not hear the vote. Okay, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Good.
So we start again at 2.
So now we'll be off on Zoom.
Too many things.